Hey Nick, what are we doing today? And who's this guy?
Oh man, I don't know who this guy is. No. Well, it's Vinyl Tag time. You know, it's that time of year again. It's time for us all to reset our vinyl channel, maybe decide to make some more content for the year, that kind of thing. And this is Kevin. Kevin's the third part of the herd. You know, he's joined in and he's helping us out with the Northern Colorado Record Show, which is coming up in May. And Kevin, I've known you for a long time. So
yeah, it's been a long friendship, and you know, I've kind of been stalking the Vinyl Herd for a long time and poking you guys, asking when can I be part of it, and I'm super excited for the opportunity and coming in for, as Nick said, the Northern Colorado Record Show May 19th at Sweetwater Brewery in Fort Collins. Great food, great beer, really great beer. Spinning. We're gonna have live DJs, correct?
Yeah, I got our first one confirmed yesterday when I stopped by and saw Mr. Ruffer at the old
nice.
hot sauce shop. So
Nice.
Aaron Ruffer will be
Nice.
there spinning and doing his thing. And
DJ Strawberry Manilow.
I can't confirm yes or no, but I've heard DJ Strawberry Manilow is tentatively scheduled to appear.
well,
So
good.
that's a big deal.
That's all we need.
All right. Well, let's jump
Well,
in.
thanks for joining us on the video, too.
Thank you.
It's
I
so
appreciate
fun.
it.
And so for those that don't know, the Vinyl Tag is a tradition set up by Rob, the vinyl community guy from UK, and he's been doing this for a number of years and giving us 20 questions. So this is 20 questions of your year in collecting, if you will.
All right, we're going to kick off with the first question. Our favorite record you purchased in 2023. Go ahead, Kevin.
So mine is Aphrodisiac by Charles Kennard, who's a Kansas City born and raised soul acid jazz pianist. And this is a repress of the 1970 Soul Brothers record. Crazy funk, good stuff. Bernard Purdy is the drummer, who is, you know, the funky drummer. And he might come up again here in a couple albums. So, sweet. Yeah.
My choice is Santana Abraxas, original master recording. I was just really lucky to get a copy of this. This is the best sounding record in my collection, and I love it.
That says a lot because you have a pretty serious collection. It's been repressed. It's out now. Beck's Sea Change. I have just listened to this nonstop this year. I've listened to it 100 times since I got it. So, yeah, Beck's Sea Change. It's fantastic.
The last record you bought in 2023.
This was bought at Vinyl Solutions Record in San Mateo, California, which is where I'm born and raised. Dressed up the road in Burlingame. So this is Zoni Mash by The Meters, George Porter, Art Neville, Leo Nicontinelli. And then this is a repressed of a 1972 vintage rarity and non-album B-side album. So
That's
Nice.
cool, man.
yeah, good stuff.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
I recently picked up The Eels, Beautiful Freak. It has the hit No King for the Soul on it. Picked this up at the Vinyl Cafe in Longmont. Shout out to Martin Banks.
Sup, Martin? This wouldn't have been the last record I would have bought, but this was a This is a Black Friday release. Jerry Garcia, David Grisman. More of a jazzy record. The name of the record is So What. They did a somewhat limited release on this as far as Record Store Day releases go, and then it was late. So some of the people that were patient were able to get their hands on this after the fact.
Sweet.
All right, next question is the band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year.
I kind of cheated on this one. This is Kikigaka Moyo, a Japanese space funk band. They actually stopped touring in 2023, so RIP to the band. But you know, hopefully they come back in the future. This is Forest of the Lost Children. So they repressed all of their vinyl this year, and super great, chill, funky jazz music.
All right, I chose Creedence Clearwater Revival. We all seen these records before. They were all released in the same year, which I thought was pretty cool. And
What year was that? You're like, I'm gonna make you look now.
I don't even remember.
70 something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they were all. I looked it up and I was like, oh, they did all these in the same year. That was awesome. So I was excited to pick these up this year. Acoustic sounds, versions,
Awesome.
fancy.
I got to see Fogerty play with String Cheese Incident this summer at Red Rocks. It was really fun.
I'm sad that I wasn't in town for that because
fun.
my only thing was like when Fogerty did that 50th anniversary thing, I
Yeah.
wanted to go and shoot him, and I
Yeah.
got a media pass, but they wouldn't let me take photos. And so
That's funny.
A little vain. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get old or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't blame
Yeah.
the man, but I was like, I know people that's probably one of the few opportunities to actually take photographs of John Fogerty was when he
Got
played
it.
with String Cheese
Got it.
Rocks. Band that released 2 albums this year. I mean, this is kind of a slowing down for him, really, honestly. King Gizzard only putting out 2 records. They kind of got going earlier in the year with Petra Dragonic Apocalypse or Dawn of the Eternal Night. This is a little bit heavier record. It goes into their metal, sludgy metal kind of stuff that they put out. But
I
there's
might need to borrow that one.
some fantastic tracks on it. And then the Silver Chord, which is a much more danceable output. And certainly worth checking out. I like this record a lot.
Stoked for the Red Rock shows coming up
Dude,
in September.
I'm going.
Yep.
All right, next up, number 4. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose?
It's really easy for me. 1970s. I'm a soul, jazz, funk, just obsessed right now. And I chose Bill Withers live at Carnegie Hall, 1973. Probably one of the best live albums. I believe one of the best live albums of all time. He is just the king or the Godfather, whatever you want to call him. So fantastic album.
That's cool. I had to choose the 90s. This was just my time. The time I was in college. So many memories tied to so much 90s music. I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, I think it was interesting that there's some more esoteric questions on the list this year, like what's your favorite decade and what country and that kind of stuff. Because I think that gives us a little bit broader way to look at our collections, and I think it's fun. So I think that's cool. I chose the 70s only because it's about getting the most bang for your buck, right? Like if you can only listen to the music from one decade, I think I love the 60s. I have so much 60s classic rock in my collection, but you kind of wash that away because it's so developmental to what happened in the 70s, and like this, you have it all in the 70s. So, and then I think about the Dead too, and what they
That's
did
Europe
in the 70s.
72, or what
This
is
is
that?
Europe 72. So
Yeah,
I think about
I
the Dead as well in the 70s and what they were doing, and that's sort of an anchor point for that decision.
I got the repress. Fantastic.
Okay, number 5, show a record by a band or singer from Manchester.
So this was tough for me. I had to look up who was from Manchester, but I went with Graham Nash, and I didn't have any solo records, so I went with a CSNY album, Deja Vu. So Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, fantastic, great pressing. They're just their melodies and harmonies are incredible.
The faux leather cover.
Yeah, that was
This is a very weird album cover. It really is. Yeah.
So I chose the Stone Roses. This was released in 1980. Well, they started in 1983. This was released in 1989.
It's cool. Yeah,
Not from Manchester.
when I started looking up, I realized I knew the vein of music that they were going for with that, and I had to be like, I don't have hardly any of them.
None. Yeah.
But I do have the Hollies, and I do love the Hollies, and they're from Manchester, so shout out to the Hollies.
Number 6, which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2000?
This was tough because I definitely Joe Garcia, the Dead, they're up there. Steely Dan up there. I've been listening to D'Angelo a lot as well, but ultimately I went with Prince, and I went with Dirty Mind. This is probably the most sexual, gross mustache, dirty version of Prince you'll find. But just some hits. When You Were Mine. Uptown, Sister. Head is just such a good song. So
They're repressing all of his stuff.
They really
too,
are.
posthumously,
Yeah,
so.
they are. Yeah.
So I chose The Cult. This is Sonic Temple. I picked this up in a collection this year, and this one flew under the radar for me forever. And then I listened to this, and I was like, this is amazing. So I went down a big Cult rabbit hole and got a bunch of their albums, and they're a blast.
I love that. I love that cover. I think for me, there's been, in the last 2 years specifically, there's just been a ton of Grateful Dead and specifically Jerry Garcia releases. I have been listening to a ton of Jerry because they've released all the stuff that I had on CD in the 90s on vinyl. So you can find almost all of it, and it's great stuff.
That's a great
So
album.
good.
Yeah.
How sweet it is.
All right, number 7 shows 7 7-inch records. I think between the 3 of us will show 7.
Oh, 7 total? Or no, I think
Yeah.
you just had to show a 7-inch record, isn't it? What it is?
Oh,
Or-
7 shows 7-inch records, but
Well, I only have one, and this was the special Japanese pressing that came with the reissue of Farmhouse by Fish. And this has Driver and Mist on it, and this is actually manufactured in Poland, which is kind of surprising. But Nick and I, we were at the
Japanese
Coopers talking
pressing,
earlier.
though.
Yeah, Japanese
Cool.
pressing in Poland. This is the only vinyl or only legitimate vinyl, not bootleg, that you can find Driver on
Yep.
pressed.
Yep,
So that's
I think
very
it's cool.
cool for a
It's-
Fish fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would be remiss to not mention Farmhouse in itself. That was a
Yeah.
huge release this year.
It was.
And I don't have it here, so I'll mention it. It's one of those things that for Fish fans, we waited a long time. And you saw original releases of that Farmhouse going for, I sold a copy at the last record show, 2 record shows ago, for about $300 right after it was released.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that it was worth $400 or $500.
It was, yeah, just like the
Down a
Beck,
little bit,
that
yeah.
Beck album was dropped too this year.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What I chose, so I don't have a lot of 7-inches, but I did come across this box set. It's a bunch of singles by Sub Pop. It
That's
has the U-Men, Soundgarden, Mudhoney, Nirvana, Young Fresh Fellows. It's pretty cool. It's got they're all like colored vinyl in these cool Sub Pop
Little sleeves.
sleeves.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's got to be fairly collectible. I also bought the Fish 7-inch. Thanks, Fish, for making me buy the record twice. And then well, they didn't announce the 7-inch until it was released on their website. So a lot of people pre-ordered it or bought it on Amazon or whatever. And I'll teach you, buy it from the band, don't buy it from Amazon.
Yeah.
Learn less and whatever. This is the most expensive 7-inch I've ever bought. This was a collaboration release between Beck and Phoenix, and they sold it signed at their Red Rock shows. So Beck was a bucket list for me. Didn't get a photograph of him, but I did get to go see the show.
That's
Really cool.
All right, next up. Oh, this one's interesting. 8. Who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present. Who would you invite?
So I'm sticking with my theme. I think is mostly funk music. So my first guy would be Bernard Purdie, the funky drummer, the most singly recorded drummer of all time. He's known as a great session musician for Steely Dan, Aretha Franklin. But this album, Soul Drums, is just so great for parties. I also invited Donny Hathaway, kind of the soul legend, R&B legend, keyboardist, really known for his work with Roberta Flack as well. And this is Donny Hathaway live. This is just a really cool live album
that
with him.
record.
Really, really good.
You can hear the number of people in the room.
In the
on that
room.
record.
It's really
so
well done.
good, man.
And then so I went 2 males, 2 females. My females are going to be Grace Jones, former Bond girl, as well as like 1970s fashion icon. She's so funky and weird, and Slave to the Rhythm is it's almost like a story as well as an album, so really fun. And then lastly, R.I.P., but I went with Sharon Jones, so another Jones, backup singer for the Rolling Stones, one of the queens of soul jazz music. And she also put together some incredible funk bands, so that would be mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the Dap Kings, yeah.
So I went the route of music production, so a bunch of music producer type people. So I'm starting with Steve Wilson. This is one of his solo albums. Also Alan Parsons, Mutt Lange, and then I would invite Rick Beato to kind of facilitate the discussion, and it would probably get pretty heated and deep there in the technical aspects of music production. So that's kind of where I went.
Oh, Brian Eno, huh? Jeez.
No,
He can come to the next one.
He come to the next party. He's the first one, I kind of went iconic people. I was flipping through the reels the other day, and there was, yet another like iconic Frank Zappa quote. The guy just seemed so intelligent. As much of an asshole or whatever as he was, I think he'd be a hell of an interesting dinner party guest. And I'm not a big Zappa fan. J.J. Cale. Jerry Garcia, obviously, he's going to invite somebody to dinner. You might as well get Jerry back. And then Jimi Hendrix. I think all of these guys are deceased, and therefore, and guitar-centric guys. So I just think it would be a cool dinner.
That Zappa album cover is wild,
dude. I mean, and then what's funny is I got Joe's Garage Part 2 and 3 before I got 1. So that's not actually. Yeah.
Oh God.
All right. Next up, number 9. We lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023.
This category sucks in one part because I think we all picked some of our heroes or some of our favorites. But I went Jeff Beck, guitarist of the Yardbirds, as well as the Jeff Beck Group. If you have not heard of Jeff Beck or not listened to him, his thumb is one of the craziest guitar instrument or usages of all time. Known for his work with Ronnie Wood and Eric Clapton, and he's basically on every list of top guitarists. So R.I.P. Jeff Beck.
That was a surprise. Huh?
Yeah,
I chose Wayne Shorter, saxophonist. He died at the age of 89.
Yeah.
And
he was Miles Davis' saxophonist.
Prolific guy in the jazz world.
That's a good record.
He was in
very good record.
He was in Weather Report as well, I believe.
Was he?
I think Wayne Shorter.
That's right.
Awesome. Yeah, another kind of a sad, I thought based on, how many livers he'd gotten, he'd just live forever. But David Crosby, sadly, but dude, prolific career and an amazing influence, and used his platform really, really wisely in his later years. And I was lucky enough to get to not only videotape him at E-Town, but I got to shoot him at Red Rocks.
Is that a white label
A
promo?
white label promo
That's
copy.
sweet.
of
That's
his first
cool.
record.
His recent work with Snarky Puppy and that whole group is really cool
Yeah,
too.
he's prolific, iconic.
All right, we're about halfway there. 10. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Which country would you choose?
So I went a little different route. I went with the continents. Well, you guys did too, I guess, by choosing yours. But I went with Africa because I'm in this huge African jazz, funk, weird music phase right now. I think anything from the Congo, Nigeria, up to Morocco, and then lastly, this is from Ethiopia, and this is Hailu Majura and the Dakluk Band. Really cool background music for parties, great drinking music, which shows what we do for fun. But this band is just Hailu and Wede Harar Gozu. It's probably pronounced that completely wrong, but he's a keyboardist and synthesizer legend from Ethiopia.
So have you gotten into any of the Zamrock stuff?
I have not particularly. Yeah.
But you've
So
done the
there's all that.
Afrobeat. and
Oh
you've
yeah,
done
I've got all that. Yeah, yeah.
Fela,
Fela,
and
oh
all
yeah,
the Cootie
Fela.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
The Cootie stuff is great because it's like it's like hitting that 50-year mark. So there's
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff that's been coming
Yeah,
out.
William Onanabayor or whatever that guy's
Yeah.
name is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right. So I chose the U.S. mainly because of, well, my favorite decade is the '90s and all the grunge stuff and all the hard rock stuff, and it's tough because like UK has so much good stuff too, but I had to choose U.S.
They're asking this from a world perspective. The guy that lists these questions, that makes these questions, is from the UK. So he's genuinely, I think, looking for perspective from other places. I mean,
So what did you
it's
choose?
the United States. You
Yeah.
get the most bang for your buck by picking the US.
So what did you guys choose? What did you choose, Lance?
Oh, I don't have an album.
Oh, you don't
I
have
don't
an
know.
I
album.
got
Show-
well. There's
you-
plenty of stuff
yeah.
in here.
Oh, I got it. I
That-
see what
that
you're
from
saying.
that,
I see
yeah,
what you're saying. Got it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I just picked the US.
Got it. I'm unique.
So our next question is, this is the number 11. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023.
So I have 2, and these are both on Instagram. And one is vinyl.eu, which is a Danish vinyl store, blog, etc. They put out really cool content on Instagram. And the other one is called ES, literally capital E, capital S. And it's a vinyl blogger as well on Instagram. Has a beautiful listening room like we're in right now. Great content, great information, a lot of recommendations, etc., etc.
Okay, I'll have to check those out.
That's awesome.
I didn't really discover a lot of new ones this year, but I have been watching a lot of the In Groove from Phoenix, Arizona. I always watch 33 RPM is a staple. I know you're probably going to say this too, but University of Vinyl, Tim Tolbert, he's a local guy and a good friend of ours, so definitely have to check that one out.
I would definitely shout out Tim Tolbert at University of Vinyl just because he dives deep on stuff it's fun. It's fun for him to watch him kind of nerd out. He's got a beautiful backdrop of a listening room. I feel like you've helped build half of the stuff in his room, and he certainly bought a few records from both of us over the years. But he's great dude, great channel, great knowledge base. Noble Records. I mean, obviously been
Noble
watching
Records.
a lot of Noble Records stuff.
I bought
And
from them.
I was lucky enough to get to Noble Records this year and check out the
That's
store. And
Yeah, you got me a shirt from there.
for
Where are they?
sure. They're outside of Charlotte on the south
Charlotte.
side.
Matthews,
of town.
North Carolina.
It's not a huge shop, but the guy does a lot of really awesome, great pressings, and he has really great inventory. And then I just want to go to his house. I don't. The shop's one
Just
thing.
wanna
I just
hang
want
out
to go
with him.
hang out
Yeah,
at his house.
I hear you.
So those are my couple, I guess.
All right, cool. Number 12, show a record that you bought when you were a teenager.
So, CDs were what we used to listen to in the 90s. I was not into vinyl. I wish I was. I wish I would have kept my
Yeah.
dad's vinyl. Oh my God. But I went with the Chili Peppers growing up in San Francisco. Even though they're a SoCal band, the Chili Peppers, I think, changed the world of music for a lot of us young California kids. I went with Blood Sugar Sex Magic, one of their most famous albums. But I'd throw Californication in there. Stadium Arcadium was probably the last one though. But yeah, good
Those
stuff.
are the two I have.
Yeah.
I chose Soundgarden. When Black Hole Sun came out, I remember that changed my life of just how I perceive music, and Spoon Man, and a ton of great songs on here. So
Is that an Orange Wax?
Orange and red.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
That's a cool pressing.
This was one of the first records I got, so it doesn't fall into a record from this year, but I don't know if this question actually had to fall into a record from this year. This is Pink Floyd's The Wall. I cannot think of a more seminal record in my life than this record, in the sense that, like, in high school for a year, like 2 or 3 years, I would get home from high school and I would play The Wall, like, every single day. And so for me, it's just a very, definitive record.
Did you watch the movie back then?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Nice.
That's awesome.
All right, the next one, I think this one's going to be real tough for this group.
Tough.
Number 13, show a funk or soul record.
I mean, I've already had numerous in here. I couldn't choose. It was like, that was the hardest question for me. I went with something that I actually won at one of the Vinyl Herd spinning tasting events at Sweetwater Brewery. Again, Northern Colorado Record Show, May 19th at Sweetwater Brewery. I went with Hot Chocolate, Everyone's a Winner. I think Nick introduced me to Hot Chocolate. I am now a massive fan. I've got 3 or 4 of their albums. Just straight dirty funk. Just
Dirty UK funk, bro.
Dirty funk. Yeah.
I had a guy in the garage digging yesterday looking for funk, and we got into an argument about Hot Chocolate, and he's like, "Well, that's not my kind of funk. It's not American funk." And I was like, "It's still really good."
Oh, God.
I chose Funkadelic Maggot Brain.
So good.
This is one of the first funk records I dove into, and the guitar solos on this, Eddie Hazel.
And this was ridiculous.
Unbelievable. I almost chose Eddie Hazel's solo album, but I didn't because I thought you might.
We've
but-
done that. I know we've
Yeah.
brought that up on Vinyl Tag
Yeah.
before. Games, names, and guitar things, man. It's fantastic. If you don't know, you should know. So this is an interesting find for me, and I'll take a little bit longer to break this down.
Yeah.
This is Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters. So this album is called Dance, and it's one of only 2 EPs or LPs that they actually did. Freddie Henchy and the Soul Setters are a band that was originated from Phoenix, Arizona, and then they moved up to Boulder, Colorado in the mid-'60s, about 1966.
Go Buffs.
And so they were known for throwing the best party on the Front Range. And this was in a collection that Lance and I split, and he just, Soul Setters. And it's just a very nondescript cover. It is so funky.
That's good.
It is a shred-tastic funk party from start to finish. And I will say this. These guys are in the Colorado Music Hall of Fame.
Cool.
And they also were heavily influential to other funk bands that came later, because they had that sort of low-end falsetto dual lead vocalist, like Casey and the Sunshines and some of the other funk bands that became very prolific in the 70s. So Freddie / Henchy and the Soul Setters, check them out, man. They're so good.
I wonder
awesome.
if, shout out to Vinyl Herd member Lisa, our Colorado music
Lisa
historian.
Wheeler, yeah.
I'm guessing she knows a bunch about them too.
You know what?
She
I didn't even
yeah.
offer her that because I kept it, but I will say I finally sold Lisa
So was
a
that
record.
was that pressed in Colorado?
Yeah, the record company is the pressing label, and I believe this was pressed in.
Well, Lisa, let us know if you need a copy
Yeah,
of
just
this.
saying.
Dude, she can't have it. This is so good.
All right, next one.
Okay, number 14, show a record you think everybody has, then show a record you think nobody has.
So I'm going to go with one of my favorite bands of all time, who just reunited for the releasing or the re-release of this movie. Actually, Stop Making Sense. Talking Heads, David Byrne, lead singer. Just Jerry Harrison. Just absolutely incredibly funky, weird music. This album is basically a greatest hits. Take Me to the River, Psycho Killer, Slippery People. If you do not have it, grab it. Fun thing is you do get to see Bernie Worrell play the keyboards with these guys
So
as well.
sick.
And then for an album, many don't know these two were actually married. Greg Allman and Cher, called Allman and a Woman. Shout out to my partner Brian. This is one of his favorite albums that we have. This is a very fun bluesy rock album. Just some slow stuff like we talked about. The slow Greg Allman stuff is very
So
underrated. So shout out to Cher.
It's and vaguely reminiscent of like a Buckingham Nicks cover on that.
100%. 100%. You're like, what were they doing before that? Yeah.
So I chose Nirvana Nevermind. I mean, not everybody has it, but most
It's a
people have it. It's
classic.
pretty common.
Yeah, it's a
common.
classic.
Pretty
So for my
I love this.
Iron Maiden Virtual X. So this came out, I think, in the 90s when Bruce Dickinson left the band, and they brought on Blaze Bailey as their vocalist.
Such a good name.
And he did 2 albums with them. and a lot of Maiden fans were not very happy about that. So these albums flew under the radar, and I
From the
think
80s? Sorry.
90s.
90s, okay.
98 was
Okay,
when this
cool,
one
cool,
came
cool,
out. So yeah, you just don't see these around, and there's some fun songs on here. I enjoy it.
Hell yeah.
So
They still put out a bunch of wax, right?
oh yeah,
They,
Ton of stuff.
yeah, I was reading Metallica
I mean, Bruce
still
is-
sells more albums than like
oh
anyone
yeah.
does. I mean, it's
Well, Bruce
insane.
Dickinson's back in the band.
Oh, are they?
You know, like this was just for a couple years, and then
Cool,
he
sure.
came back.
Yeah.
A record I think everybody has, Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experience? Just classic. I mean, he only put out people started talking to me about Jimi Hendrix or Led Zeppelin. I was like, well, they only put out like 4. You guy put out 4 records. Go buy them. You know what I mean? Like you get the repress.
Yeah.
And then I want to be clear about this. When you say a record that nobody has, it's not because it's like some of it's just so under the radar.
Totally.
Or the pressing of it was so limited, right? This is a Steve Vadic record. This is a gift from Steven himself this year. I work with him. He's a sound engineer on the Front Range, but he's also a crazy awesome producer. He's a music manager. He's worked with Citizen Cope as his management for years.
Cool.
But he also just a really awesome record, and I listened to this again last night just to kind of refresh my memory about it. It's so good, man. It has flourishes of this indie rock, but it has a real subtle tone to it, and it's just a really great band. And he recently reunited some of the band members and did a tour on the Front Range earlier this year. So,
Cool.
so look it up, stream it if you can find it. Steve Vadic.
God, Citizen Cope, man. Seeing them at the Fox Theater in college. Those were some rowdy shows.
He's been working with that
Yeah,
dude
those
for
were
a
rowdy.
long
Yeah.
time.
All right. So the next one, number 16, favorite video you posted on your channel in 2023, and favorite video you watched on a Vinyl Community channel in 2023. And
Well, content creators, what have you guys posted this
Well,
year?
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So this year we posted we did a run of videos that we shot earlier in the year. We did our vinyl tag and then we shot a series of videos. I think the ones that I like the most from this year, and it was limited. It was like five or six videos this year. But I like the funk record, or the funk deep dive that I did, and then we just released a psychedelic rock deeper dive, mostly focusing on the late 60s that Lance led in a discussion. So I think for us, for the Vinyl Herd this year, those were the two videos that we put out this year that I think were the most fun. We're gonna continue to try to do some more content. It's a thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's
we
a
do it when we
challenge.
have time.
Look at us right now.
Yeah, we're
We're
doing
trying.
that. Yeah.
We try to use the vinyl tag video as our sort of palate cleanser for the year, and then we'll get excited about it. And I have time usually around this time of the year to dive into some more just fun projects and stuff like that, which is where we're at with it. So I foresee us trying to do some more gear videos and stuff this year, and then some more deeper dives. I like the idea of it. So.
Can't wait to see what we shoot at the Northern Colorado Record Show. as
And
well.
yes, we do need to create some more content. We just did kind of a little commercial sizzle thing that's up on the Vinyl Herd YouTube page. But we need to do a little bit of a story there and kind of tell that story too.
Yeah, that'd be good. For me, one of my favorite ones was the one Tim Tolbert did, where he showed off those speakers, the Klipsch Cornwalls. That I helped him get those speakers, and I helped him move them down into his basement and everything. And he kind of just to see him so excited about those speakers, it just made me smile.
That's
so
cool. I
I'm
like
glad
that.
he was able to get those. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So what's next? Number 17, show a record you'd consider or you describe as a '90s classic.
I went with another San Francisco band, Green Day, and I went with Dookie. Classic album, repressed this year. I had it on CD along with Nimrod and American Idiot and all the other legendary Green Day CDs. So.
Did you get the Aqua vinyl version?
God, you're putting me on the spot. Yes, I did. It is Aqua vinyl. Very cool. I like
That's
that.
the one I got.
Proud of myself.
It's nice.
I chose Alice in Chains' Jar of Flies with the Sap EP.
Very fun.
Gatefold. Love every bit of this
Come
album.
to snuff the rooster.
It's crazy. It does sound like it.
Come on, man, they suck. Promise.
sucks.
So this is I think 92. This record was first of all super stoked to find it. just the Black Wax version of it. This was one of those ones where I was just swinging by like All Sales Vinyl to grab like some sleeves or some inners or whatever like that. And I saw it on the wall. I was like, I did not want to spend $40 today, but here we are. So yeah, pork soda. Grab yourself a can of pork soda. You'll be
Super
feeling just
excited for
fine.
their show at Red Rocks this year with the Perfect Circle. That's gonna be really
Oh,
great.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Are you going to that one?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice.
them, Perfect Circle, and one other band. I can't remember the third, but yeah.
Was it Whisper?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's
'cause
who it
that's
is.
the other
It's
major-
Whisper.
yeah,
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 I
it's
do.
Whisper.
I do remember that
Yeah.
announce. I do remember that.
All right, so let's jump back. I missed one.
Got
Number 15, She's Great, a record by a female artist you bought in 2023.
I'm a huge, as I've showed, soul, jazz, funk from the 70s. So I went with Mavis Staples. She's still touring. I think she's like 81 or 82. That deep, raspy voice. She's played with everybody. This is her family band, the Staples Singers. This album is called the Staples Swingers because
They're
not
so
because
swinging.
they're swinging like at a hotel late night. They're literally on a swing with their dad.
Love it.
So cool stuff, and that very fun, just happy, really happy music.
That's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
I chose, this was tough too, because I got a couple this year. Natalie Merchant, Tiger Lily, original master recording. I actually got this from Tim Tolbert. He sold this to me. This is an amazing sounding record. It's a great, just-
45 RPM on that.
Yeah.
one? That's cool.
It's a great kind of folk rock 90s jam. I love it.
That's awesome.
So I bought all three of these from the same artist this year. They're releasing Betty
Yeah,
Davis's
dude.
stuff, and it's kind of like they're doing a really nice presentation on it. There's like a booklet inside and an OB strip, and they're doing like some of it on translucent colored vinyl. But they're not cheap. They're all like they're all single vinyl LPs,
I'm
and
rich.
they've all been over like $40. And I would recommend if you really want to get these, go to your local record shop and have them order it for you, because if they're on the shelf, they just go. People will see it and be like, oh. I think she had about 5 records, and there's still 2 more to come out on this release
So
run.
you're gonna be spending some more money.
Yeah,
coming up
yeah,
soon.
another $80 or so.
Number 18. This one's
Getting
funny.
close.
If you could walk into a cover, look through your collection, and choose a record cover you'd like to be part of.
So I think all three of us buy records just for covers sometimes, and which is good or bad, whatever. I went with one of the craziest record covers ever, or that I've seen. I went with Funkadelic, Standing on the Verge of Getting It On, one of George Clinton's projects. Side with Parliament. You could just see that this is going to be the most fun, crazy space party of all time. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what's going to happen. You might end up in bed with an alien, but it would be be a fun time. So yeah.
Fair enough.
I too chose kind of a fun one. This is Armored Saint. Look at these guys. These guys are ready to rock.
It's legit.
There's a castle in the background. They're going to kick some butt. I want to hang out with these guys.
What kind of music is that?
This is an old metal
Is it metal?
band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It looks like,
the singer of this band ended up becoming the singer of Anthrax like later in the
cool.
Anthrax
That's
bridge,
cool.
so.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's almost like a what was that? Those Scientologists. What was the name? What are the?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's not go
Now
there.
we're gonna have to fucking cut this. Right? We're gonna clean fucking cut. All right.
You're good. You're good.
What was the Scientologist guys? Chick Corea and all those guys.
Oh, Return Forever.
Looks like-
Romantic
it looks-
Warrior.
it looks like
a
fucking
Romantic
Return to-
Warrior.
yeah,
It
it looks like a
does.
Return to
got it.
Forever
Got
cover.
it.
For this one, I chose Rift. I just think it's like what an album cover you want to be a part of. I just want to be like a weird fat Oompa Loompa dude sitting in this chair, So I don't really. This is a David Welker original cover, and it was one of the covers that kind of artistically propelled his career. David Welker still does a ton of concert posters and art prints, so check out David Welker. He's awesome.
Big fan.
That's great.
The artwork with the original Rift is
So good.
beautiful.
Right, number 19. It's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits album.
Huge fan of Derek and the Dominoes. Big Eric Clapton fan. To each their own on Eric Clapton. He doesn't come off as the nicest gentleman anymore. This is Layla and Assorted Love Songs.
So good.
Fell in love again with this album in 2019 or so when Trey Anastasio sat in with Tedeschi Trucks Band at Lock-In and they surprised everyone and did it. I have that pressing. It's fantastic. This is original. Just an unbelievable cast of characters, great songs. Lance, you asked me earlier, like, what was my favorite song? I love Why Does Love Tell the Truth. Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? But the cover of Jimi Hendrix' Little Wing is insane. So
now you
big
make me
fan.
want to go back and listen to it.
It's so good. I might have to listen to it on the way home.
I chose Linkin Park Living Things. The reason I chose this is I had this CD when my son was younger, and I would drive him to elementary school, and we'd listen to this in the car all the time. So this album just reminds me of hanging out with my kiddo.
Closer to
That's
the
awesome.
edge, and I'm about to break. I love it.
This was a pickup. I do believe this is a bootleg too. This was a pickup at the Northern Colorado Record Show.
May 19th, Sweetwater Brewery.
The 19th Brewing. No, but this was a pickup that like it's one of those ones that I saw. Somebody had bought in a box of them and was selling them one by one on Marketplace when I first started collecting vinyl,
yeah.
and they were $50 a pop, and I was like, no, man. I was trying to haggle the guy. I was like, $40. He's like, no, dude, they're $50. And I was like, so I didn't buy it. I passed on it. And I always wish that I had just bitten the bullet. So I'm walking through the NoCo record show last year, and it's in the bin from one of our friends. And I was just like, oh, I couldn't get the money out of my wallet fast. And I was like, shut up and take my money.
Awesome.
But I love every song on this record, and it's fantastic. And
When did this come out? When did he do this one?
So Eddie Vedder did the soundtrack for Into the Wild. Into the Wild was released in the 90s.
And they might have redone it. They redid it.
Well, this album was released in around 2016. Urban Outfitters did a pressing of this,
It's so funny.
Oh,
and so
So funny.
so the Urban Outfitters pressing
Yeah,
is
Into
like
the Wild.
ridiculous. But this is I believe this is like a Czechoslovakian, probably a bootleg.
The
or
best
something
kind
like
of
that.
bootleg.
But
Yeah,
it sounds great. It's mastered from the same tapes, and so it sounds great. But it's just every song on it's fantastic. So
Don't go looking for that bus. It's a bad idea.
don't find the bus. They pulled the bus out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's
good.
somewhere in
Good,
some
good.
Alaskan museum
Yeah.
somewhere. They're trying to decide what to do with it.
All right, last question. Show me an album that was released in 1974.
Tough one for me. 1974. Nick's gonna pull up another album that I almost went with as well, but I went with "Feats Don't Fail Me Now" by Little Feats. I
So
think
good.
Little Feats one of the most underrated bands of all time. Lowell George is just absolutely incredible. Fell in love with them. Thank You Fish. 2010 Atlantic City Halloween. They kind of brought Little Feat out of the dead, and they've rejuvenated. Last thing I'll call out is Bill Payne, their pianist, is one of the greatest pianists of all time.
And he played with Leftover
And he
Salmon
played
for
with
about 2.5
Leftover Salmon.
years.
Yeah.
He toured with them on some of their best, recently some of their best
Totally
years.
agree.
Although I do feel I just shot them in November, and I do feel like they have a lot of great energy.
Yeah.
Little Feat was a rabbit hole for me. I'll just say this.
Yeah.
I went deep. I
Yeah, you
probably have, 15 or 20 Little Feat records.
Yeah.
And they keep releasing more and more stuff from their live side.
stuff, yeah.
So they just released a 3 LP pressing of the full show from Waiting for Columbus.
Oh, cool.
In
Wow.
order of the show. So
Oh, cool.
you're actually getting the whole concert as opposed to the edited
Very
Waiting
cool.
for the Columbus version.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So I chose. So this could have counted for the question. Released 2 albums in 1 year. Queen 2 and Sheer Heart Attack both came out in 1974. So these are both
That makes
great
sense based on the covers.
early Queen
My
albums.
my mom just went to see Adam Lambert with Queen in San Francisco. Said it was incredible.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
I thought that would
incredible.
be a good
Now
show.
it's only Brian May and the drummer who had left, but she said it was Adam Lambert was
Brian May.
phenomenal. Brian May.
Astrophysicist.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's
yeah.
nuts.
And Adam Lambert won American Idol.
Yeah, and he's just great. I mean, he's incredible. Yeah, yeah.
I don't buy a lot of EMP stuff, but they have been putting out some really great pressings, and I got the pressing of Rejuvenation, which was from 1974.
George Porter, baby. That is
Nice.
some dirty funk.
So
Well, that's it for our questions.
that's our vinyl tag. So hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Again, we're looking for big things for the Vinyl Herd, but we're always looking for big things for the Vinyl Herd. We've got kind of a really awesome community that's been built based out of Northern Colorado, but really all over the country and all over the world now. So we'd invite you to search us out, find us on your social media channels. We're out there, and make plans to come up to Fort Collins to Sweetwater Brewing on May 19th, and come hang out with us because it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, and thanks, Kevin, for joining us.
Thank you guys. Super
And
excited.
Hopefully, we'll see you more in some more content.
Heck
And
yeah.
thanks for the perspective, man. It's totally different.
It's
than-
all.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You can tell like where our music differences are. It's
you
awesome.
can
Yeah.
tell what rabbit holes we've all fell down.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
Until next time.
Thanks. Bye.